And we're back in the pod for pretty much, well, one night only with me actually sat next to Toby, because we've got some forthcoming news, technology dependent on what might be going on here. But having got back to you,
we'll probably do one more before I go.
You reckon maybe try and fit one more
in?
Okay.
To like last night.
Well, this might not be one night only then. It might be penultimate night only, if that even makes sense. But... Well, should we go over to you straight away then, Toby? Because obviously we left on a minor cliffhanger at the end of our last broadcast, where you had things to sort out, and that's all we heard. So, do you want to fill us in on what's now going on and what the state of the potential podcast is going to be?
Yeah, I'm cycling to Scotland with a backpack and a trailer. I was going to cycle to Mongolia, then I had panic attacks about that. Because I thought I really don't want to go into a deep Europe and Russia and stuff and all that. So I'm sticking to my own nation.
Indeed. So do you have a departure date at present?
I do indeed. It's the 12th of July.
12th of July. So we'll be on the 9th of June so far. So yeah, we're okay. So we've got about a month. So we might get another one, if not more than that, podcast. So in fact,
I would hope so, because I do enjoy them.
So we're gonna do a bicycle riding theme for today. After we'll do a little bit of news, then we'll get onto the bike riding theme. But to a certain degree, maybe slightly ignore the whole prospect of bike riding if we end up doing one or two more podcasts. So rest assured, we may be back before too long. But then, as the time comes closer and we've worked out how to use Skype and record it, we might have a few additional extras and potentials when that comes around.
We're doing quite well with the old Skype. We've had some tests last night, didn't we?
Sound test was good.
And so I've got a couple of little anecdotes. I did want to go and see the new film Spy. Having watched, what's the guy's name? Feig.
In what? Sorry,
what directed Spy.
Oh yeah, something like Feig.
Yeah, like and he directed. He made Bridesmaids, which I did watch last week, which was really excellent. Actually, really good, and also had Melissa McCarthy in, who was really funny. And so I did want to go and watch Spy, but unfortunately, my local Cineworld has turned out a bit like a kind of girlfriend that you love, but you just wish you'd stop shouting. I've got fed up with the noise level. I've not been the only one.
Still, are you still reeling?
Well, that and many other films and many other people's opinions that are similar to mine. So I'm not alone in thinking that. And having contacted the HQ of Cineworld, as we mentioned before, they haven't turned it down.
They haven't been paying attention to your criticisms.
So I did want to go and watch it, but I much prefer watching films at home because you can
turn the volume down.
You can sort out the volume on your own terms. So I didn't go and do that, which is a shame because I did want to watch.
Other reviews have been positive, although obviously our reviews are the only one that counts.
Yeah.
But at least the other inferior film critics have given it a fairly decent thumbs up from what I can see.
And also, just to do the volume, I did note that Mark Commode, who's an excellent film critic, goes and watches films, obviously,
quite often,
quite regularly. He has mentioned the whole sound thing, and he actually mentioned a thing where they had this sound boost system in, I think, the 80s with maybe horror films, I'm not sure, and he said every other modern films are all like that now. So
it's just all really loud. Okay.
Yeah, so he's mentioned it. I mean, he puts up with it. He's got obviously more deafened ears than mine.
Okay, well, a pleasant rant over.
Yes.
Do you want to do the new? Actually, I've got a piece of news.
Oh right.
Which happened during our time away, and this goes all the way back to March the 1st, when we were doing the Stew Review Awards.
Right.
And I checked my email inbox the other week, and about 3 months later, finally got a response from Tat Radcliffe in regards to the award we sent him.
Wow! Right, wow.
Yeah, Tat has finally got back to thank us for his
Oh,
award that
brilliant.
we sent through.
Brilliant.
So I'll read out the email because I said I haven't told you this.
This is great. Yeah, cool.
So from Tat Radcliffe in regards to his receiving our top honour at the Stu Review Awards
I'm
2015,
yeah.
which was Dear Stuart and Toby, exclamation mark. What an honour to be an inaugural winner. Sorry about the terrible delay. I have only just managed to pick up the trophy from UA, which is his agency. No excuses. I shall absolutely treasure it and find a spot so that everyone can see it and I can bask in it. Very best wishes. Thank you again, Tat.
Oh, I'm glowing and tingling. That's brilliant.
So three months later, thought all had been lost. He just didn't care for our amazing film podcast.
Oh.
But he has thanked us. So with that delightful news out of the way, there'll be other great things we'll be finding out that happened 3 months ago that are going to be happening soon, I'm sure.
Just a bit of patience. Yeah,
that's all that matters. Yeah, patience.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Okay, so movie news. So strange enough, in about the 3 weeks we've been away, actually not a great deal has happened. Obviously, Cannes has finished now, but other than that, there's only really been 2 trailers of interest, which I think we've looked at over the last few days. Which, should we do the first one, which is Mission Impossible 5, which is Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which they released a trailer not too long ago. UK release is July the 31st.
Yeah, I watched the first one, and then you sent the link for the second one.
Yep.
Which was a little bit more zingy, but it all looks pretty.
So there's quite a good stunt scene where Tom Cruise is hanging on the side of an airplane.
Yeah. Open the door. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, so I'm going to be slightly negative. Okay. I mean, like Mission Impossible's always been sort of a bit bargain bucket Bond, really, in some respects. And
okay.
And I mean, it does look like a kind of like dodgy Bond. I mean, every time it's sort of they don't really seem to try and distinguish themselves. Although maybe this time they're thinking Bond's got a bit more serious, so we can do the slightly kind of camper Bond thing, and we're now different by doing the same thing we were always doing anyway. But it just sort of felt like it was going to be a sort of slightly inferior Bond clone still. I don't know if you felt much more than that.
I think Tom Cruise is a bit more impressive than
Craig
or
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah,
better than Timothy Dalton.
I mean,
Sean Connery.
He does all his own stuff. He hangs off cliffs and. I mean.
So do you want to? Well, should we have a guess now then? So
and it's got Simon Pegg in it.
It does have Simon Pegg in it. Well, okay. This year we got Mission Impossible coming out July the 31st. Spectre's out 6th of November, which is going to be the better film.
Sorry, I was still thinking about
Tat Radcliffe.
Tat Radcliffe. Yeah. Sorry, go on. What was that question again?
So Mission Impossible's out this year, as is the Bond film Spectre.
Right.
Which is going to be the better film?
Well, if I had to choose between seeing either of those, I'd go for Mission Impossible. Because I don't like the modern Bond films.
I'm going to come down on the Spectre side of things, so we'll have a difference of opinion. Anyway, next trailer, which
that's a healthy thing.
Indeed. Next trailer, which actually links in something we've got in our bicycle-related feature, which for the conscientious of film observers, they might be able to work out if they know what Ridley Scott's first film was. They might get this, but Ridley Scott's got a new trailer out for a film called The Martian, which is released November the 27th.
Just watch that today, after your link.
Your thoughts on the trailer?
Well, it looks good. What's his name? Matt Damon was great in Interstellar. He was one of the best things.
So he's doing another in space.
And is there going to be an airlock death?
There has to be an airlock death.
Surely.
This film will not be worth its salt if someone doesn't get sucked out an airlock.
I was chuckling and looking and thinking, who's going to die?
Who's going to get sucked out an airlock? Because it didn't look like Matt Damon was going to get sucked out an airlock.
No.
But maybe he will. Someone will. Someone has to. It's the rule. It's the rule of any films in space. Someone is going out an airlock. But I thought it was quite a good trailer as well. And
he's a top actor.
Ridley Scott seems to do sort of Alone in Space quite well. Obviously, Alien being his biggie on that front. That's a couple of trailers. Anyway, probably if anyone gets any time, worth checking out both of those. I think the Martian trailer is probably slightly more interesting than the Mission Impossible one. But So we're going to do this the other way around because we're going to start with features this time rather than doing general film stuff after news. So yeah, going back to your bike trip, which
Indeed.
obviously we are in the Oxfordshire region, and you are aiming for Scotland essentially.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
You think it's probably? We'll see how long I survive.
Yeah, if I don't perish, yeah. I'll
Just
try
gonna be
and
kind
go.
of setting up.
I've been in touch with an auntie in Manchester, so I can get a
Okay.
bath there.
Okay, midway stop.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all good. So yeah, just as a teacher, we are going to have a bit of a look at classic films involving bike riding,
Yeah.
basically. So do you fancy starting with one of the newest ones on the list, actually, if not the newest, which is The Flying Scotsman from 2006?
Yeah, yeah. I went to rewatch it, and it's a fab film, and it's based on a true story. Johnny Lee Miller plays the lead, who is a avid cyclist, ends up doing track cycling, beats the how far can you cycle in 1 hour.
Oh, that's
record.
quite current, because Bradley Wiggins, supposedly broke it yesterday, I think, or
Really?
2 days ago. Yeah.
Really?
And then there's a bit of a
Okay.
hoo-ha because the guy who held the record, which he set it a few months ago, said it was illegal because he didn't use an off-the-shelf bike. So that's just surprisingly
Yeah,
current.
that comes in with this
Oh,
film.
does it?
Actually,
So
yeah.
history is repeating itself.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
And
do you want to continue with this, and
Oh,
I'll
blimey.
butt in if there's any more sort of
well,
current
he changes
prophecies.
he changes his bike design so that and there was quite a few problems with this where he uses his arms forward too much and they touch his chest, and then the authorities come up to him and say, right, you can't do that, and I think that's more to do with the circuits actually. But anyway, it was as ever, the authorities sort of come up with different rules, and they were mucking about. But he had problems because he had a kind of bipolar type disease, and it turns out, and I read up about him post watching the film, that he came out more recently and said he was gay, and I think that's, and he was bullied as a child, and I think that's what caused his problems. And it reminds me, I won't digress. I could digress about a postman I used to know that used to cycle, but I won't because I'll go on for ages. But it's a great film.
Okay.
Can I just stop it there? It's a great film.
Sounds good. Well, yeah, we've got a lot of films to get through on our big list.
Yeah, exactly.
So, next one is Chariots of Fire. Got some notions on that one?
Yeah, that's more to do with location, isn't it?
Should we save that for a bit later then?
Yeah,
When we
save
get
that
in-
for yeah.
Okay. Well, how about Breaking Away?
Breaking Away. And
1979.
yeah, this is quite interesting because I mentioned the other week about films from cinema to TV, and I think the rules must have changed around 79 because I saw this film not long after it was in the cinemas. I reckon I saw it in about 81. And one of my favourite films, great film about avid cyclist who's keen on Italian cyclists and has some mates who are all a bit sort of.
We've got Dennis and Dennis.
Yeah, Dennis,
Christopher and Quaid.
Yeah. So, yes, and that would be a link to. I mean, Dennis Quaid. You've obviously all heard about Dennis Christopher. He appeared in Chariots of Fire, which links.
Okay.
As the famous American sprinter Charles Paddock, but he wasn't. I haven't seen him much after that. But what else can I say? I mean, asking me a question.
Good. I don't think I need.
Great
to. Well,
end.
better or worse than The Flying Scotsman?
Oh, that's quite a good question.
If you had to watch one of those films,
They're both great, honestly, in different ways. I watch both of them several times.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, should we move on then to the Ridley Scott link I mentioned a few minutes ago?
Also, can I just mention one more link?
Go on then.
The Flying Scotsman. I watched after a link sent by Stu to watch 39 Steps, the one of the original ones from 35, made by Hitchcock. He travels up to Scotland on a train called the Flying Scotsman.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
there we go.
Just a little.
Very nice, very nice. Well, we'll get on to the 39 Steps a little later as well, actually, because it relates to a later how the theme goes. But yeah, Ridley Scott. So I don't know if anyone at home's managed to take a guess, but Ridley Scott's first ever film, which he filmed in Hartlepool, the bright lights of Hartlepool, which he got. Was it Boy and Bike? That was the name of the film, wasn't it?
Boy and Bike.
I think it was Boy and Bike, which starred his brother, I think, wasn't it?
That's right.
Boy and Bicycle in 1965. Tony Scott was
played the actual the boy with the bike, which was it's quite touching. I read this afterwards, and you may know that he committed suicide not very long ago. He became a quite successful director. He made Top Gun, I believe.
Okay.
And others, and so that was kind of sad. But
what did you make of Ridley Scott's first efforts? I mean, he wasn't. I don't know what he was. Was he early 20s at that point when he did his? I don't think he directed another film for a good 10-15 years after he did. Or this was a short, but
I think he was. Yes, I think he was.
Could you see the seeds of great directorship in that short?
Yeah, you couldn't see Alien in it, that's for sure. But the character was very interesting. He's sort of sound, and the narration. It sounded like a sort of young Alan Bennett. It was quite.
Not going to do an impression.
But no, I'm not. No, I'm not. But. Unbelievably, he had John Barry doing the music for it, the incidental music for it. I don't know how they did that.
So I think it was your theory it might be a bit of a networking job.
I think so, a bit of a family connection maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I did look it up actually, and the piece is called Onward Christian Spaceman.
Oh, that's right.
Which name-wise suggests that he didn't write it for that film.
Yes. Okay.
And it turns out it was originally a B-side to a seemingly forgotten British TV program called Human Jungle. And
this donated it.
Yeah. So he wrote the theme tune, or he orchestrated the theme tune to Human Jungle, and then I don't know if he released it as like a track, basically. So then obviously the old vinyls, you needed a B-side.
Yeah.
So the B-side to his orchestration of a sort of forgotten TV program was this track Onward Christian Spaceman, which apparently Ridley Scott quite liked and thought it'd be suitable, so wrote John Barry a letter, and John Barry was like, "Oh yeah, you're a really good director. I can." I think he even rewrote it again for him for that film. So anyway, actually, I've got a Ridley Scott question for you, which you may well know. Which is that obviously during his time after doing his short, he directed a really, really famous British TV advert. I think in the 80s it would have been. Do you know what that advert was?
80s, so this would have been after Alien.
Oh gosh, it could have been earlier than that. It was still on TV when I was young. It got repeats. It's something it's been a very long running advert that crops up time and time again. It's got a very famous theme tune.
It's not with the T one with the monkeys, is it?
It's not the T one with the monkeys. No. PG tips. No, I'll give you some more.
Can you give me a hint?
The theme the theme tune is by Dvorak. Symphony Number 9, the New World Symphony.
Hovis.
Yeah, he directed the Hovis advert.
The guy walking up the street.
The little kid on his bike going up and down. On his bike as well, in fact. Another bicycle theme.
Excellent. Yeah.
So Ridley Scott, he did the Hovis advert. He directed the Hovis advert.
That's quite good news, actually.
So anyway, moving away from Ridley Scott, I think we've done pretty much all the Ridley Scott we're going to do today. Let's go over to France, actually. It's actually a French double. Should we do Jour de Fate first, which was 1949? It was written, directed, and starring Jacques Tati. Which, we had a bit of a conversation about that because it's really hard to find a copy that wasn't in French. And I don't speak French, and I don't know what your French is like, but
it's
not good enough to watch a film and understand what the hell.
I was just trying to think of a French phrase and I couldn't think of one, so it's obviously not very good.
Yeah. No. So, have you got any thoughts, or should we start talking about Norman Wisdom?
Well, I liked your link that you thought I thought he looked like Buster Keaton.
Oh yeah, it wasn't about look. I was thinking just the actual comedy, because I thought, because having watched the last scene in there where Jacques is on his bike, kind of cycling around, and there's a bit of slapstick comedy where he sort of casually cycles and overtakes a load of racers, and then turns the sign round, but they go the wrong way. Then he gets his bike stuck on a level crossing, and he can't get it because it gets flung up in the air. And then he goes and rides into...
You didn't sound very keen on this.
Well, as I said, it's kind of one that it made me think it's exactly the same as any Norman... Well, I sent you that Norman Wisdom clip with where he's washing a car and then splashes some guy, and then he starts...
Yeah, I saw that.
Shooting water through the window and under the car. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. So I think, Norman Wisdom films are generally terrible, but... the pleasant... Yeah, but the kind of really amenable, pleasant character of Norman Wisdom himself... It kind of brings you in, and I think it's probably the same sort of thing. It generally sort of looked like a fairly bad film, but if he, I just felt he is the French Norman Wisdom, basically.
Yeah. Well, there's a great the one clip I saw from that film was where there was this automated bike that was just kind of pedaling itself and going down the road, and I have no idea technically how they did that, and I was impressed with that. I would have liked to have seen the film, like you say. It's quite hard to find it in an English version. I know what you mean about Norman Wisdom, but very impressive physically chap. I watched what do you call it about him the other day?
Documentary.
Thank you. And I was impressed with him actually, and physically, when you see and he did all his own stunts, and so.
Like I said, he was a lovely character, and you mostly just see him shouting "Mr. Grimsdale."
And terribly egocentric, but but a nice chap.
So, anyway, should we go more to the future? Well, not quite the future of French film, but far more modern. 2003, the animation triplets of Belleville.
Right.
Intriguing animation.
Yeah,
it's
Tour de France. Quite a weird one. I have watched this a few years ago, and it's like an old granny and oh god, it wasn't my cup of tea really. I think I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
But
an interesting piece.
Yeah,
at least an interesting piece. Okay. So, in terms of this, I've got a couple of little mentions. Not so much films to do with cycling, but just scenes in films to do with cycling. Which I sent you a couple the other day, which are just ones I thought are probably worth mentioning. The first one being the rather obvious scene in E.T. Probably almost a more famous bike scene than any of these bike-related films in many respects. I mean that. Was it? I don't know if the production company used that scene with the kid on his bike as their logo for a while as well, if memory serves back 90s. So, obviously everyone. Well, I can't imagine anyone listening to this hasn't seen that scene in E.T. where the kid's got E.T. in the basket and then his bike takes off and so forth. So, anything else to add?
Only a couple of brief things. I did go back and watch that actually, and
right.
Very exciting.
Was it still emotional? E.T. almost dies. Does he almost die or does he die? I can't remember. It's a long time ago since I watched it.
Well, not on the bike.
No, but there's a bit where he's almost dying. He goes all like white and.
Yeah, but I just watched the bike.
Oh, you just watched the bike scene. Okay.
And the only other thing is that I remember my mum commenting to me that she thought it was ridiculous, the fact that...
What, the notion of an alien...
I don't know, the fact that they were cycling, but actually cycling very fast and beating the police cars, but actually that looked really good. Obviously the taking off bit is less easy to understand.
Did that break the fourth wall a bit too much for you?
Yeah. So, but
you're not questioning the whole alien coming to Earth thing, but as soon as the bike takes off.
No, but I didn't question. I'm talking bikes.
Yeah.
I didn't question the bike bit because that's how fast we can go.
Indeed. Okay. The other was not. This was not strictly a bike. Right. It's a tricycle.
Oh right.
But the scene in The Omen, just because it's a really cool scene where Damien's just cruising around on his trike.
Yeah, the evil. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And one more for you, which I sent you a clip of. It's in the transport.
Well, even sorry to interrupt. Even in The Shining, you got the.
Oh yeah.
Similar kind of.
So kids on tricycles are creepy. Basically, good suspense horror material.
Yeah.
So the other one, which I sent you a clip for, was Transporter 3, which has good old Jason Statham on a BMX.
Yeah, awesome. Check out that clip. Slightly over edited, but great end, wasn't it? You know, he jumps through.
Does have a good end. Sort of goes flying through some kind of sweatshop or whatever it is, and then gets off his bike, runs,
jumps off his bike,
grabs onto something, flings himself out some
into
curtains,
the car.
Straight through the car window, kicks the bad guy out the door of the car,
and
lands in the driver's seat, and then drives off.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah. Stath at his best. Brilliant.
Okay, so won't worry too much about time. So should we get a little bit more on your bike journey? Because talking to you about this, we were thinking to ourselves, weren't we, that obviously your end game might be somewhere in Scotland.
Yeah.
However, if we are going to do some potential broadcasts,
well, I like that
during
island
your travelling.
Eeg.
It's like egg, but with an I.
I'm going to look it. I'm going to look it out.
Check out Eig. But yeah, we were sort of thinking if it could be interesting to, on your travels, stop off in some locations.
Yeah, hopefully meet Claire Grogan. Yeah,
indeed. that might. What should you say? That might link in with the world of films.
Yeah, so absolutely. And we're going to Skype. Yeah.
We thought we've quickly picked out a series of films that would be roughly. I mean, I've documented your journey roughly as Wales, Liverpool, Manchester, Blackpool, Yorkshire, and Scotland. Although I've got up here about train spotting as a kind of link into this section, because that's got a bit of a Glasgow endpoint, Glasgow Edinburgh type connection to it.
Yeah, Edinburgh really. The first sort of, I think the first scene is filmed in Edinburgh. So, and I went there a couple of years ago, and it was lovely. And I love the Scottish landscape anyway. So, I'd love to find that street where they're running down. There's dun 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 dun, and Renton's running down. And what's it? Spud, having done a robbery or something. Stuff like that.
Okay, so
I won't be on heroin, by the way.
You won't be on heroin. You don't want to completely involve yourself
in the
world of Danny Boyle's film. Okay, so we're going to hypothesize.
Although, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I did like the word heroin is quite nice in the sense of heroin.
Heroin.
Anyway, that's a minor point.
It's a nice ponderer for the audience. Going back to so basically tracking your rough journey. So we reckoned when we were talking that you might have a bit of a ride to Wales. It's a bit more interesting than cycling to Birmingham. So picked out a couple of. There doesn't seem to be a real. I mean, there's a few films that have scenes. Seemingly, Snowdon seems to be quite a popular scene for filming the odd scene in film. But in terms of films that were actually filmed in Wales and set in Wales, the only two I could think of off the top of my head were The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill But Came Down a Mountain, the Hugh Grant piece from 1995. Not the greatest of films, but I do remember watching that with a nice girlfriend. Is that not Hugh Grant at his best?
Well, he was just
doing
he was just bumbling through and getting another million, whatever he was doing. It was shortly after Four Weddings, wasn't it? I think.
It's 95. I've got.
Pretty
pretty close. It's about 93 or something. Yeah. So it's him and Tyler
So I remember joking with this girlfriend about that. And then we watched another film with the same girlfriend, Hard Top No,
soft top, hard shoulder.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
we're going over to Scotland now. Yeah,
yeah, which is on the same similar theme, where it's Peter
Capaldi, Richard Wilson, the guy who played Victor Meldrew from One Foot in the Grave, is also in it. Apparently, yeah.
And they travel up to. He travels up with a kind of would-be possible girlfriend. Travels up to Glasgow, I believe, in a little car, and it's a lovely film. I remember having a lovely evening eating hobnobs and drinking bitter and lying next to that particular girlfriend. So,
very nice. So was soft top, hard shoulder a bit better than the Englishman who went to be held and came down a mountain?
Absolutely, yes.
Capaldi is better than Grant.
Absolutely.
Is that
well, no, I wouldn't go as far as that, but yeah,
I would say maybe I wouldn't say necessarily in those films. I think over the course of their acting careers, Peter Capaldi has been in some quite interesting things. And he's only really hit his massive break now doing the whole Doctor Who thing, but see, going back to sort of his work with Emmanuel Iannucci in the thick of it, and whichever the film.
He's
the
certainly
film
matured, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, even his kind of Malcolm Tucker role with anyway. Digressing. One other Wales film,
right.
Which is a Terry Gillingham piece from 1977, Jabberwocky.
Yeah.
Which again, directed by Gillingham, starred most of the Pythons. I think Michael Palin took the lead in this one as a guy called Dennis Cooper. Yeah. It also had I saw it had Harry H. Corbett, who was the younger guy in Steptoe and Son. The old
right.
Well, again, not very useful for
I can't remember that.
anyone outside of England and probably under the age of about 30 listening to this. But it was a well, I don't know. I'll let you fill in if you want to add anything on Steptoe and Son. But yeah, anything on Jabberwocky? Was it one of his not quite as good films?
No, it was a good, very nice Monty Python sidestep. I've just
better than Baron Munchausen.
No, God no, God no. You talking daft? Have you gone mad, Stuart?
Just wanted to get a nice feel of where. Because I could have said Time Bandits, and you'd have been like, "No, not a chance."
Yeah,
but Munchausen's 11.
I'd have left the room.
Okay, so anyway, after your travels through Wales, that may well involve.
There is one Twin Town, isn't it? We haven't discussed this previously, but
fill me in.
Twin Town. Reese, what's his name? And
Reese Darby. Reese, not Reese Shearsmith.
Reese, you know, that Welsh actor.
Griff Reese Jones.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, Griff Reese Jones. No. Anyway, look it up. Right. I think it's called Twin Town. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, after you've done Wales, south to north, Cardiff to whatever's in the north, Liverpool is a short trip over.
Right.
So I picked out a couple of Liverpool films, which. Again, you might check out Educating Rita from 1983, the Michael Caine and Julie Walters piece.
Yeah, that got a couple of awards, didn't it?
How was Michael Caine in this one? Did he change his accent?
I thought he was pretty rubbish, actually. I like Michael Caine, Zulu, one of my favourite films. Usually very reliable.
Italian job.
I thought he was a bit crap in this, actually.
No, so
but I think she got some awards.
Julie Walters, yeah. Okay.
And deservedly so. Yeah.
Not a film you're going to be seeking out anytime soon.
No, I wouldn't. No.
So how about another Liverpool classic, Yellow Submarine, starring the Beatles,
or Hard Day's Night?
And Hard Day's Night. Well, in fact, any of the Beatles' back catalogue. I mean, they're so Liverpudlian.
I wouldn't mind watching the Yellow Submarine again. I haven't watched that for years. It's pretty mad, isn't it? It's all a bit.
Yeah, well, we talked about it a while ago towards the end, when it was kind of like a bit of a contractual arrangement from the Beatles, because it was linking on to the Jungle Book thing, which we may have spoken about on this, about obviously because Elvis was having a lot of success getting roped into doing film tie-ins, because obviously as the business was emerging at that point, they realised, well, not only these guys are really famous doing music, but hell, if we stick them in a film as well, all the kids are going to go and watch that too, so double income for us. And that's basically, and same thing for the album as well, Yellow Submarine. That was all again part of a contractual arrangement as opposed to a.
I do remember the this is just off the top of my head. The bit about the Oh God, the lonely man, and somebody poking their head through.
Was that? Yeah, I can't remember his name now. That old British comedian.
No, hold on. Oh God, I'm sort of lack of research, but
should we skip on?
I
Or
suppose so,
is it on the tip of your tongue? There's a good scene. Is that the? Is that
yeah, there is a good scene that is quite.
Watch the film. There is a good scene.
the blue man. What's it? Wow.
I don't know.
Can't remember.
It's 1968. I'm not that old.
No, but you could have seen a film after you were born. The blue bod coming through, and he's all alone. Yeah, I can remember.
Okay, it's
that.
worth
Anyway,
watching. Yeah, okay, right.
Let's move on.
That's enough Liverpool. Next to Liverpool comes Manchester.
I remember it. Yeah.
Which you could. I've got a few actually for this one. Naked, the Mike Leigh piece from 1993, starring David Thewlis as a guy called Johnny, who's a fairly abhorrent character. I really didn't like this film, but I thought I'd mention it because it is a kind of classic Manchester-based piece. What were your opinions on said film?
Yeah, just makes me not want to go to Manchester, really. So,
should we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
How about 24 Hour Party People from 2002? Sort of Steve Coogan is kind of playing the guy that sets up Factory Records and then signs Joy Division, obviously later become New Order, and also the Happy Mondays.
Yeah, nice to hear the music, but again, doesn't make me want to go to Manchester.
Okay, should we try the next one? This is my last
Except
one.
I've got this nice auntie in Manchester, I wouldn't go there.
Okay, what about Looking for Eric? That's the only one I've got on here.
Oh, yeah, brilliant.
Ken Loach piece, and also a starring role from Eric Cantona.
Yeah,
hamming up the sort of pseudo philosopher that he made him. Well, you're not a football guy, but I'm sure you're aware of the
not particularly, but
the old Cantona. Which I guess is probably what led into this was Cantona's kind of the seagulls following the trawler kind of quote.
Yeah, brilliant.
At all.
What a brilliant quote. And yeah, I actually nicked that DVD from a shop and then returned it. I have to say the next day.
No one noticed.
And no, they didn't. No, it was a mistake that they put it out because they're not supposed to put the DVDs in the cases. But
was it just like a slide it into the breast pocket job?
Yeah, I don't know what came over me, but I wanted to watch it and I watched it and I enjoyed it massively.
So is that now just about encouraged you to go to Manchester? Although again, it's a slightly bleak look at Manchester. I'd rather watch the film. Well, I'm going to go and see my auntie, but no, I don't really want to go to Manchester. Okay, well, the next one I've got on the list is Blackpool, the holiday destination of choice 30 years ago.
Yeah. I do want to go to Blackpool.
You do want to go to Blackpool?
Yeah, I've never been there.
I couldn't find any films on this at all, but you did come up with one just before we started recording, which was...
Funny Bones, yeah, with Lee Evans, is it?
Yeah,
and Jerry Lee Lewis and Oliver Reed, who apparently was absolutely pissed on set, according to some anecdotes. Yeah. Nice little film.
Yep.
And best use of Lee Evans, who's just too mad. Generally.
Well, he did a bit in. There's something about Mary he was in as well, wasn't he? Doing it just a fairly mad role. So moving across to the east of the country, if you indeed decide to take this route, but surely if you're cycling top north, you need to go to Yorkshire, which I've got 3 here. Again, not necessarily I think basically the further north in England you go, generally speaking, the more depressing the films become. There's no happy films made above sort of the south of England, it seems. Yorkshire, another Ken Loach classic, Kes.
Yes.
Which is hardly a sprightly tale of good fortune and happiness.
No, it's not locations that I'd seek out, but yeah, lovely film. So. But one I'd rather watch than sort of be in.
Yeah. How about Brassed Off? That's a slightly more light-hearted. I mean, apparently brass bands are still really big in Yorkshire.
Are they?
Apparently so.
Well, I don't want to join one.
Not even listen to one?
No. Not really. No.
Any comments on the film?
I'll cycle past that at high speed.
Okay, fine. And the Full Monty.
Oh well, yeah. What Sheffield?
Sheffield Steelworkers.
Yeah,
Are they Steelworkers?
Sheffield apparently is one of the greenest cities in Britain. Got the most parks. I was thinking of moving there, so I will definitely go to Sheffield.
Go and try and check it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Go to become a male stripper while you're there.
Yeah, I'll check out.
Relive the film.
Yeah. I will. Yeah, I'll Skype you. Yeah, with my clothes
during
off.
Toby's stripper practice. So rest assured. So this is going to be film. When Toby gets to Sheffield,
that'll be a Skype and a half.
You're going to be dressed as a fireman. Right.
Yeah,
so
I'll definitely get to Sheffield.
Okay, so let's go back to Scotland now. We've obviously already mentioned
let's carry on
Train Spotting, and we've already briefly mentioned the 39 Steps. Seeing as you did literally watch it all of about 2 hours ago,
yeah.
Do you want to just give your quick thoughts on that, as it must be fairly fresh in your mind?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it was a great film for about 2/3 of it. The
first 2/3.
Yeah, and then it got a bit weird. The main guy. The actor, I'll just get to my little reference notes, who died very young actually, Robert Donat. He was kind of a Errol Flynn lookalike, and he actually won an Oscar in '39 with Goodbye Mr. Chips, beating Clark Gable in Gone with the Wind.
Clark Gable,
yeah, so he's
no
no mean actor.
Beating the odds there.
But yeah, he died quite young, and
the 39 Steps is an interesting film because they have remade it a good 3, 4, maybe even 5 times. I think Hitchcock maybe did the first adaptation. It could well have been.
It could have well been. I think I watched the '70s one with where he ends up in sort of hanging off the clock in Big Ben. The main guy.
What is in that hanging off the clock? As in the really famous hanging off the clocks, not the Harold Lloyd one.
No.
The other really famous hanging off Big Ben scene.
The actor, my mum fancied him.
I think I know what you mean though, because this is a really famous
yeah,
scene.
but the end of this 35 version was just rubbish.
No clocks in sight.
No, it just all and I just got bored with it, and I was just worrying about trying to get in contact with you and or anybody else because my phone's gone bonkers.
Okay, so first 2/3, first 3/4 is good. Anyway,
it was really exciting. It's really exciting, and they go over the Forth Bridge, which is just outside Edinburgh, which I remember, and so that was kind of atmospheric.
Now I've got 3 films here which are all set in the Highlands. Well, involved with the Highlands. So the first one being the notable box office flop, but somehow seemed to spawn about 3 sequels after it for some reason. Anyway, Highlander.
Was it a box office?
It was. Yeah, it was. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it cost something in the region of about 16 million to make, which is probably surprising because a long time ago I saw it and I don't remember thinking it was very high budget. And I think it took about 1.5 million at the US box office, something like that.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, for some reason it didn't do very well. I mean, it has become a cult classic. But there is a Highlander 2, a Highlander 3. It might be a 4 as well. There could even be a. They did keep them running, even though the general. I mean, again, do you want to go through the principle of the film and whether you fancy? Do you fancy living the life of an immortal in Scotland?
I quite like the first film. I'm surprised it was a flop. I mean, I think Christopher Lambert,
yeah, also known for playing Raiden in the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and he films. Plays an immortal that doesn't age, and they have to go to a big contest where there's only the one, and all this sort of thing.
It's when you got Sean Connery in it, of course, as well. Yeah. But yeah, obviously the twist is that although you're immortal, if you get decapitated, then you die. It's something like Lambert's fighting. What's his name? Kurgan. That's the one, isn't it?
And he plays the guard in the
Shawshank Redemption.
Yes,
it is. Yeah, I looked up. When I saw it, I was like, it was Clancy Brown's the name of the actor.
Yeah, he's
and the Captain.
He's quite a good baddie.
Hadley, I think it is. Yeah. So he's done 2 decent bad guys. Two decent bad guys. So another Highlands one, the Bond film you haven't seen, Skyfall.
You can fill me in on that one. Good.
Well, basically, Skyfall's in the Highlands. That's the Braveheart.
But
do you fancy putting on some blue war paint, showing your ass to the English, and?
Yeah, I've done a bit of that on a kinky night. Yeah. I have. It was very. Yeah, I had a nice time.
Did it include the blue paint or just a kilt?
It was just the kilt. Yeah.
as dressed as a true Scotsman.
Yeah, well, when in Scotland.
Right, let's move on from that one. How about a bit of a Bill Forsyth double bill?
Yeah,
Gregory's Girl and
Brilliant.
Local Hero.
Brilliant.
Yep. Well, do them both.
Yeah. Well, let's start with Gregor's Girl. I watched that yesterday for the first time since 1981 when I went to watch it as a fantastic double bill with Chariots of Fire. Yeah, double bills don't get better than that.
Which one was first and which one was?
That's a good point. I think Gregor's Girl because it was released a year earlier than Chariots of Fire, so I think that was put first. And I assume I don't remember who I went with, but I assume the cost was the same. And two fantastically crafted films, and I was just laughing my socks off yesterday watching Gregor's Girl. I mean, Gordon John Sinclair was the epitome of awkwardness of a teenager at school. There's a great soft sensibility of what it's like to be at school at that age, and you have this gorgeousness of he fancies somebody else, and then he goes out on this date and he ends up with Claire Grogan, who is lovely, and then I'm a bit in love with her actually, and went on to sing in band Altered Images, and there's one.
Is that the main enticement to Scotland for you, or does Lone Hero?
No, she lives in London now.
Okay, oh dear.
Yeah. Haringey. Oh yeah.
Haringey.
Yeah.
You've been looking these things up.
I've even looked it up. Yeah. No, I looked up and it said. I'm not saying I'm.
Nothing sordid, honestly, officer.
I'm not going to, start stalking her or anything. Yeah, lovely.
Okay, so how about Local Hero? Forsyth made that 2 years later, but Lancaster.
Yeah, brilliant.
Better, worse, different.
Better, worse, different. Less funny, much more subtle. Very, very good. Very watchable. Has another link with Trainspotting because you've got what's his name, Lawson, Denis Lawson,
okay,
who's the uncle of Ewan McGregor.
All right. Okay.
And who's pretty top notch, and great film. Yeah,
okay,
but much more subtle.
That's good. So I think
that's
that's
in Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, so that's a bit further north as well. So
gone
all the way up to Aberdeen, which is great. So maybe next week, if you have some thoughts about, if there's any scenes you want to reenact while on your travels in towns or places to visit. But yeah, that concludes at least that bike riding section, and we're definitely pushing on with time. There's one other final thing we want to mention before we go, which I do gather you did finally muster the effort to watch Mad Max again. After a bit of a conversation. I mean, I definitely still don't think I could do that, but you did. And what did you think on a second watch?
I did on home watch, and it was much better with the ability to turn down the sound, and without the expectation of the narration in the first bit, because you don't know what's going on. It's really not important.
Nothing.
So,
there is no narrative.
But
really.
you get to the main chase, and it is fantastic. The main chase is fantastic, especially if you can just turn the sound down a little bit.
So, did it change any of your opinions on the second watch? I mean, how did you rate Tom Hardy's performance?
Yeah, I rate him much more.
Really?
Yeah.
As in, a lot better. Still not good enough, or now? You
No,
think he was?
not yet. Not good enough. But and I still thought Therese, what's her name, was
Charlize Theron
was the
Imperator
stronger
Furiosa.
character. But yeah, he was all right, and I think he was directed like that.
He did what he could, but lacking the individual charisma of Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he did. Absolutely did. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything else on the recent film front, or is the Mad Max rewatch?
Just one more. I watched a film called Buried from about 2011, and it related to a friend I saw yesterday who works in something slightly covert, something like CIA or something. I don't know. To do with computers. And he's working in Afghanistan, and this is based. The film Buried is based on a guy that's just kind of randomly working in, I think, Iraq, and gets kidnapped and finds himself in a coffin buried, and the whole film is just him filmed in this coffin. And I said to my friend, very old school friend, you haven't seen the film Buried, have you? And unfortunately, he said yes.
Otherwise, you're going to have to explain to him the premise.
Well, I was hoping that he hadn't seen it, because it has quite a grim end. I think it's very clever because it must have been filmed, aside from the cost of the one actor that they have in it. It must have been filmed for about 20 grand or something. Nothing. But the whole premise of it is not just about terrorism, or because he's buried in there to get a ransom, and he's left in there with just a phone, and it's all about communication. And I've had problems with that recently, with trying to communicate, indeed, even with Stu and other people, and that's what it fed to me. But not grim, not a great film. I wouldn't really.
Would you watch it again?
No, I think twice is enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so shall we leave it on that? Seems we've gone
Yeah,
past
it's a
15
slightly
minutes.
grim ending. Can't we have a nicer ending?
Okay. What do you wanna?
Well,
we will play off. Actually, no, we will play off on a skit you and Bias did, which is going to be a bit more uplifting.
Oh right,
you're going to communication. Vodafone Terminator. I think we'll probably play out on. So that's a bit. Again, it's all a lack of communication, but slightly more uplifting than Buried.
Submarine.
Submarine. Oh, we haven't talked.
That's quite good. That's quite nice.
Okay.
That's a bit like Gregor's Girl.
Okay. It's set in Swansea, isn't it?
Yeah, Swansea, and equivalent of teenage angst and love, and lovely end.
Okay, so keep that in mind. Not the other thing.
Yeah, not anything.
We'll play out on an interesting piece Toby and Bias did a few weeks ago.
Okay, great.
And we'll see you again maybe in a week or two's time, hopefully with another podcast.
Oh, one last thing.
Go on. Yep.
Uplifting thing.
Yep.
Gordon John Sinclair, starring in Gregor's Girl.
Yep.
He did possibly the second best football song that I've heard.
Oh, really?
For '82, yeah.
Which was
for the Scottish football team, which was called. Hold on. We Have a Dream.
We Have a Dream. Okay, well,
Yeah,
I'm going to get Toby to show me that as soon as we finish now.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm going to see if it does
It's
get up there.
It's only just second best from 3 lines.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, we'll watch that in a second. And until
I wanted Scotland to win after this.
until then, we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Hello, is this Vodafone?
Hello, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, customer services for Vodafone.
Oh right, well I just want to talk to you because I've got a bit of a problem with the Vodafone signals. It seems to be completely down since about yesterday lunchtime. So can you tell me anything about that? Or,
Yeah,
I thought you were one of the biggest companies in the country. in this country, not your country.
I am very sorry. We have terminated our service.
In what way have you terminated it? Because I've just bought a new big flash phone with a big screen and everything, with the internet on and everything.
We have terminated our satellites. They have been blown to smithereens.
Really? How did that happen?
By intergalactic missiles. By intergalactic missiles.
Look, I'm sorry, mate. I don't. This is not a joke. This is my phone. This is my life. This is my. It's the way I communicate. I need my phone. So
3G has been terminated. We are switching over to 4G. Yeah.
Right. Well, what does that mean? Are you going to terminate that as well?
This means we come round to your house and we shoot your phone with a machine gun.
What's happened to Vodafone? Because it just seems to have gone to chaos.
We have terminated your phone contract, but we will be back.
But hold on, I've got another point. When you transferred on my SIM card records, right? When I bought my new phone, I lost my granny's phone number, so I now can't find my granny. Where is she? Can you tell me?
We have terminated her phone track also.
So you terminated my granny and
we have
3G and the antennae
with
and what everything else.
With the AK-47.
Okay. Can you give me some good news? Have you terminated all the women that work in the Vodafone shop? Because frankly, they all look like they eat McDonald's all day and smell of BO, and I have to wait 20 minutes to even speak to one of them. So, can you at least give me some good news on that?
1 minute while I put you on hold. I'll be back.
Well, oh, yeah.
Bloody Hello? Arnold Schwarzenegger. 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Vodafone customer services.
Yeah, right, the other thing.
Yes, I have terminated them.
Yeah, right, the other thing.
They are switching over from 3G to 4G. They will be back
Can you
again as robots in the near future.
Can you shut up, Schwarzenegger, right? Right, you told me yesterday to ring 191, the helpline, when you had no service. So I don't know how I'm going to actually phone up a helpline when I've got no service. I can't get through.
We have terminated the helpline.
Okay, so what's happened to the satellite up in the sky? Your one and only, presumably, Vodafone satellite that we all pay for.
We have terminated our phone line and our satellite,
but
they are coming back as new 4G robots.
Right. So
for the sequel,
can they give me a new phone or what? Or what? You know, what's going on?
When the sequel comes out, you will be able to get a new phone. Yeah.
Yeah. From who? From T1000.
Yes, from T1000.
Yeah.
It will be a very cool, super cool liquid phone.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be better
you
than
can
you.
blow up and then it
will
will put itself back together.
Yeah, it'll be better than you.
Like liquid.
Yeah.
Liquid cool.
Yeah, or even that woman in Terminator 3 will be better than you. Yeah. All right, Schwarzenegger. Thanks very much. That's been great help. Cheers, mate.
Thank you. If you need to call me again, you will,
not.
And I'll get back to you.
I don't think I'll bother, but thanks.
The number you have dialed has been disconnected or is no longer in service. Please check the number and dial again.